This is Rosen Institute's Your Law Firm, where Ned Days and Lee Rosen cover management, marketing, finance, and new technologies for building the practice you deserve. Rosen Institute members received this episode early, as well as exclusive segments on delegating and an answer to a member question about explaining an initial consult fee to prospective clients. Get access to everything you're missing at roseninstitute.com/join. Here's Lee Rosen.
It's good to be with you today from Koh Libong, Thailand at the Andalay Beach Resort, where the biggest surprise was not the long, complicated journey to get here. We took a taxi and a plane and a truck and a boat and the back of a tuk-tuk. All of that was not really that much of a surprise. What is surprising is how quickly this little island wins you over. The tide, it goes out. I mean way out. It's like it's reconsidering its commitment to returning to the land. The fish get trapped in little tidal pools. They have to wait for the water to come back. The guests who stay at the hotel, they're all adventurous. They're all chatty. The Thai food keeps showing up on our plates. And even the mosquitoes, they just seem a little bit slow. I have swatted at them like a distracted amateur, and somehow I connect. Koh Libong is an island that makes you like it, whether you want to or not. It slows you down whether you meant to or not. And honestly, that's really the whole charm of being here.
It's time for your tech tip. Whether you are live streaming yourself playing Minecraft on Twitch or just turning up to live calls and webinars that you may need to use later for marketing material, we all end up with our lovely faces in front of the camera these days. No extra gadgets or gizmos or gear for you today. I have a few useful software tools to make your videos better, whether they are scripted for social media, presentations for an organization, or just check-ins with your team. The first few are about making you look better, not that you need it, of course, and making your job easier when it comes to reading from a script or checking on notes. Lighting is often the difference between good video and absolute potato quality. Even with a fancy camera, low light and bad lighting are hard to overcome. And one of the easiest fixes for bad lighting is just shining a light on your face. This can be as simple as turning on a desk lamp. I have stolen my wife's sewing lamp for this purpose, or buying a cheap ring light. You've probably seen these. There are plenty of options, most of which allow you to stick your phone in the center for maximum effect and influencer cred. But if you are taking calls from your laptop from the kitchen countertop at 4 a.m., you aren't dragging a lamp or a light box with you. EdgeLightExtension.com is a browser plugin that works with Chrome, Edge, and Firefox that turns your computer display itself into a ring light. It lets you load up any video sharing service in a tab, make the window full screen, and then with the video in the center, the surrounding border is set to a bright white, lighting your face beautifully. The extension is free, but the free version only gets you a high Kelvin cool white. If you want the ability to adjust the color to something warmer, it's $15. Either way, you will be well lit. Another useful free utility is capslockmute.com. This one is macOS only, but it does what you would expect. You hit the caps lock key to mute and unmute yourself. Most platforms have some kind of tap to speak or key combo for muting, but this one repurposes a key that you weren't using anyway, and it's extra nice since your notebook has a tiny little light on that key telling you that it's on. And although how you say something is important, what you say is still irrelevant. I, for one, am absolutely hopeless without a script, and if you are in the same boat, a teleprompter app of some kind is a must. There are lots of options here. Prompt Smart is a popular one for mobile devices. It works on iOS and Android with free and paid versions. It's very useful if you are going to have your phone nearby or film using your front camera. One of the nicest features about Prompt Smart is that in addition to moving the script either manually or automatically at a certain speed, you can also set it to track your speaking and advance based on what you are saying, so you don't have to worry about moving it forward at all. If you're on your notebook, you will ideally want a teleprompter software that puts the text as close to your webcam as possible. Virtual Teleprompter is available on Mac and Windows, again with free and paid versions, and it puts the text centered fairly close under your camera. It doesn't, however, have that auto-advancing based on your voice. But again, if you are on a Mac, I am particularly intrigued by a tool called Notchie, which you can find at notchie.app. It drops down from the notch in your MacBook to offer your script or notes right there directly under the camera. It is $30, but it does monitor what you say and move along with your voice. But if you want to go the extra mile and wow people on the live call with fancy graphics and slides, or effectively incorporate graphics and slides live into your recordings so that there is little to no editing required after the fact when you go to publish, you will want to look at something like Airtime, available at airtime.com. This began life a few years ago as an app called MMHMM, which was a cute name but difficult to say, spell, and explain to people, so I think switching to Airtime was a good move. They have a few different apps under their umbrella now, a screen recorder, a video tuner, but Airtime Creator is an app for Windows and Mac OS that lets you not only adjust your camera, but drop in graphics and logos, lower thirds, transitions, slide decks, and all kinds of other useful features. And you can either select Creator as your camera in your video sharing call so that everyone can see your amazing presentation, or you can just record it as a video, or both. There's a free trial, and it's $10 a month for all of Airtime's tools. In a similar vein is a newer tool for Mac only called Boom, which you can find at boomvideo.com. Camera tweaks, slide decks, transitions, screen sharing from your computer or your phone, Stream Deck support if you're using that tool. Its pricing is the same, $10 a month. It's a little more focused on just capturing everything live so that there's no editing to do after the fact. You may have heard about or even used OBS. This is kind of the gold standard for streaming, but it is incredibly tedious to use and set up. Both Airtime and Boom are a lot more polished and user-friendly if you're doing a lot of this. I'm Ned Days, and that's your tech tip.
And now for your moment of concise advice. I have lived through a lot more than one recession. What I have learned is that they never arrive politely. They don't come to your door and knock and wait for you to answer. No, they crash through the door, they wreck the furniture, and they're guaranteed to come back again after they leave. And you never know when. They just keep coming back over and over and over again throughout the course of your career. Once, then again, then again. It's weird because you very quickly learn that it's going to happen, and so you know it's coming, but it's still a surprise. And that leads us to making a big mistake. The mistake is thinking that you'll be ready when it happens. You won't. You just won't. Instead, you'll be scared and angry and exhausted and emotional, and you'll rationalize bad decisions. Decisions like borrowing to make payroll. Decisions like draining your savings. Decisions like keeping people that you can't afford because it feels wrong to let them go. I know because I've done all of it. The hardest lesson to learn is this: people are your biggest expenses. When your revenues drop, the math doesn't care how much you like those people. You aren't cutting expenses if you aren't cutting people. And the sooner you face that, the better chance you have of surviving the recession. It is a lot easier to rehire later than it is to dig out from a mountain of debt. People really are your biggest expense. That's a truth, a harsh truth. And it's really, really hard to apply that truth in the heat of the economic battle. Recessions mean letting people go. That is a really hard lesson to learn. And here's another truth. Being cautious isn't the same as being prepared. Most of us are risk averse. That's who lawyers are. We think downturns are always closer than they actually are. And we live in a state of low-grade panic all of the time. We oversave. We underinvest, all the while missing opportunities that could have built our cushion before the storm. Being risk-averse all the time means that we putter along in the good times, and then everything hits the fan in the bad times. You can't run things that way. You can't achieve balance that way. No, you've got to take some risk in the good times so that you can bank those profits. You can't prepare for the bad times without benefiting from the good times. Risk aversion is for people who work for other people, employees. Taking risk is for those who strike out on their own, owners. Yes, you've got to find some balance, but that ultimately looks like taking more risk than most lawyers are willing to take. You've got to take the risk in the good times to have the cash for the bad times. Another tough truth. Preparation means deciding before the chaos what you're going to do when it hits. You need to have made decisions before fear and guilt start calling the shots. Here's what I do. I run fire drills in my mind. I imagine revenue dropping by some significant number, maybe 30%. Who gets cut from the payroll? Who stays? What expenses flex? How many days of revenue down by that percentage before I start slashing expenses? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Those fire drills get you ready, but I will tell you, it's one thing to think it through now, and it's a whole different thing to implement the rule when you're actually at that point, at X days, and your rule says that it's time to act, but you're sure that that big client with that big fee is about to sign. Do you give yourself another week before you fire the associate, or do you follow your rule? You've got to decide now, because when it's actually happening, you're going to be way too emotional. That is the nature of recessions. Clarity will not be happening in that moment. No, magical thinking is what will be happening in that moment in the recession. So you've got to figure it out. I figure it out while I'm calm so that I'm not improvising when the panic sets in. I decide in advance what I'm willing to risk and what I'm not willing to risk, because when the storm hits, clarity beats courage every time. And that clarity needs to extend from your business decisions on into your personal life. If your business profits go to zero for a year, could you still pay your personal bills? Could you handle 12 months without taking a dime from the business? If not, you don't have an emergency fund. You have wishful thinking. The smartest business plan in the world won't save you if your personal finances bleed the business dry, if you have to spend the money that you saved for these particular situations. You need a better plan, and this is the time to create it. I will tell you, because I have been there and I have done that. If you think you've engineered a shortcut, if you've got some secret plan that's going to magically solve this problem, well, here's the deal. Recessions don't care about your brilliant ideas or your clever plans. Think harder. I used to think that my variable pay system was genius. Everyone was on commission, no salaries, no risk to the business. And then the first recession hit. Our revenues fell. Everyone's income dropped according to the variable pay plan, and my best people started planning their exits from the law firm. I realized that I would soon have a team consisting of those folks who were too unmotivated or too incapable of bailing out on me. Those were the people that were going to be left. I had to act fast, or I'd end up with nothing but B and C players after the A players took an Uber to their new jobs. That's why I say think harder. I thought I had figured it out. I hadn't. The odds are good that you haven't either. I realize that there is no clever way around pain. When times get tight, someone feels it. If it's not you, it's them. Either way, you are still in it. So keep thinking. Think harder. The reality is that so much of what will save you in a recession is connected to what you do in the boom times. It's so easy in the boom times to buy a new house, to take an additional vacation, to believe that the boom will continue indefinitely and not worry about the bust of the cycle. Well, I will tell you, it is coming. Don't be lulled into ignoring the next recession. When times are good, that's when you stockpile. The profits you make in the good years are supposed to pay for the bad years. Both are predictable. The mistake is acting surprised by either the boom or by the bust. And I will tell you, if you can't charge enough to stockpile in the good times, if you can't build a cushion, well, then you don't have a business model. You have a hobby with overhead. When you figure out that you can't afford to stockpile for the bust, well, that's when it's time for you to revisit everything, pricing and costs and the quality of your clients and your marketing and your system, and to fix things. The good years are your chance to fix the model so that it can carry you through the very predictable bad years. Because if a business only works when everything is perfect, well, then the business doesn't work at all, because recessions will keep coming and you can't predict them. You can't outrun them. You can't spreadsheet your way around them. But you can decide who you'll be when they arrive. You can find your tolerance for risk. You can lock into it. You can make your plan while the sky is blue, because the clouds are always forming somewhere just out of sight. That's your moment of concise advice. Wrapping up from Koh Libong, Thailand, thanks for spending a few minutes with me and Ned today. We hope you have a great weekend and an even better week next week. Keep plugging away, moving forward, and getting things done. You're on the right track. You'll get there, I promise. We're all in this together, and together we build better practices through better marketing, better management, and better technology. Until next time, I'm Lee Rosen.
Thanks for listening to Your Law Firm. Subscribe to the Friday File at roseninstitute.com and join thousands of other lawyers who are working on instead of in their businesses. You'll find safe, successful, actionable approaches for transforming your practice. Join us today at roseninstitute.com.